Hi, it's Red-Headed Writing Hood here, Red for short. I'm gonna read you William Barclay's Daily Celebration. This is about history, and I read it already and looked up this quote because I thought it was very interesting. One of the most famous remarks ever made was Henry Ford's dictum that history is bunk. But Henry Ford went on to add something to that dictum. My alarm went off, and that stops my video. Whoops. I'm going live in an hour at 5:30 Mountain Time. Where was I? But Henry Ford went on to add something to that dictum. He went on to say that the history which really matters is not the history that is past and done with, but the history which, in our day and generation, we are consciously engaged in making. What are you doing now? We may place beside Henry Ford's dictum the saying of Oliver Cromwell. When he was arranging for the education of his son Richard, he said, "I would have him learn a little history." I kept thinking of that quote, if you don't learn from history, you're bound to repeat it. I don't know who said that. Maybe I'll look that up because I have to edit this video now. I don't know who said that, but I think that's an important quote too. Here are 2 points of view, well, now there's 3, points of view about history, which is the right one. And as so often happens in cases like this, they are both right, for history has its uses and abuses. History can lead to pessimism, or it can lead to optimism. It can be quoted as proof of all the things that cannot be done, and it can be quoted as proof of all the things that can be done. Take, for instance, the dictum that we cannot change human nature. We can point at war, at graft. I don't even know what that is. That's an old word for something, probably that I know what it is, but he's using an old word. Racketeering, at victimization, at prostitution, and I read this already, I missed that word that I don't know. And we can say, you will never get rid of these things because you can't change human nature. True. On the other hand, a missionary tells of how he presided over a communion service in Central Africa. At that communion service, the members of 2 African tribes sat in perfect love and harmony. Less than a generation before, it had been the custom for the young warriors of these tribes, as they came to manhood, to go and to blood their spears in each other's blood, to steal each other's women, to burn each other's houses, and to destroy each other's crops. They had done it for centuries. It was engraved into tribal ritual and custom, and yet the power of Jesus Christ had brought ancestral enemies together in fellowship around the table of love. History justifies a glorious optimism in the power of the Christ who can do things like that. History can teach hope, and history can teach despair. It all depends how you look at it. It's true. I was watching something on Netflix last night, and there was a person, I hadn't really ever heard of them, but it was a comedian, and he was obviously an atheist, but because he said there's no God, and he said about how many people were killed in World War II. I mean, like, that's ancient history really now. I mean, there's a lot more deaths recently too. you know, school shootings, whatever. But he pointed at that to say that there's no God. But then he said he believed in that people are mostly good, that there's more good people than bad people or something. And afterwards I was like, that's where you get into, like, where do you get your definition of what's good and what's bad? I mean, that's what I think. Like, and I saw this movie because my beliefs have changed now. But I saw this movie. I can't remember what movie it was, but it was an older, like a couple older people, I guess, and one had said she didn't believe in God, and then she happened to pass away. And the person said, I bet she believes now. And I thought about that. I was like, ugh. My old beliefs would be like, she's cursing him in hell. But I remember thinking back on that, being like, yeah. So when this person passes, maybe then he'll believe. But there is a judgment. I do believe that. But I'm gonna let you go. I'm going live in an hour. Don't say that no one cares for you, because I do, and God does too. Don't forget to pray for Red, because Red is praying for you. Bye.